I'm no longer doing Interstate. This is illegal. An interesting question came in. So in the last 3 months, I started using an app called Connect. A lot of people are trying to get a hold of me and they can't through the traditional way. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start using this app through Connect. People can text me, people can ask me questions, whatever your heart desires. So a really interesting question came in about Interstate, and I have to share it with you guys because I feel like the world needs to know about this and about these problems. And I'm asking you more for this driver who needs other drivers' help, okay? So here's the scenario. So I'm a truck driver in Canada. I have a B1 visa and I watch your video. So for those of you that don't know, a B1 is basically, it gives a Canadian the right to go into the US. You're not allowed to work in the US, but it gives you the right to travel there. So if you are taking loads from Canada to the US, you're allowed to do that as a Canadian driver, and then you can only pick up in the US and come back to Canada. What you're not allowed to do is pick up in the US and drive into another US destination. I watch your videos about illegal work in the USA. I don't know before, but my company holds my money because I refuse to work in the United States. Now the company doesn't want to send me money, and they tell me we will cancel your B1 visa. I'm in the USA because the truck broke and I pay for hotel. I stay at hotel for 5 days, I pay everything, they don't want to pay me. So I guess he's also talking about a scenario where he broke down in the US and he had to pay for his hotel bills. They are holding $15,000. So I go to DOT, tell them what happened. Can they help me without charging or without any trouble? What is your recommendation? Okay, basically what happened is, went to a really, really bad company. The company is threatening that if you tell anybody that you did interstate loads, we will cancel your B1 visa. What is my recommendation to this? So first of all, when you are working for a bad company, your gut tells you that you're working for a bad company. How in the world does a truck driver get $15,000 withheld from him and he continues to work for this bad company? Problem number one. Problem number two, let's say in the situation the driver had absolutely no idea. They dispatch him a load going from Wisconsin to Ohio. Now the driver is not allowed to do that because it's an interstate load. Now, if he's a foreigner, he might not know if you're allowed to do it, if you're not allowed to do it. But I guess he stumbled upon my videos, which is great because it's creating awareness out there. And he stumbled upon the video and he says, holy shit, I'm not allowed to do what I've been doing. All of a sudden he tells his company, hey, I'm no longer doing interstate. This is illegal. The company tells them, well, if you don't do interstate, we're not paying you the $15,000. Plus, we're going to cancel your B1 visa. So these are actually realistic situations. And I mean, for you to send me a text message, obviously, there is a fee associated with it. So you really need some help. And that's why I'm bringing it to your attention because, guys, what do you do about companies that are doing interstate loads? So these are Canadian companies with Canadian drivers dispatching them US to US loads. There are lots of drivers in this scenario, and I know that there are companies. So I also work with the dispatch service, and I actually interview some of their drivers that they dispatch. And yes, it is common that Canadian carriers are doing interstate loads. I've heard a lot about them, and I know there are some companies that do it. I actually know the names of some of the companies that do it because a lot of drivers come through, my doors, and we talk, and I love talking to drivers. But what is the driver supposed to do in this situation? So first thing is first, I feel like, the driver, if you're ever in this situation, you have to send out an email documenting that, hey, I am not allowed to do interstate, and you have to send it to the company, to your dispatcher, that I'm a Canadian and I'm not allowed to do interstate loads. It's illegal. Now, I want you to know that if you do interstate loads, obviously you can get banned from the US. They can ban you for 10 years, they can ban you for 5 years, and they should be able to do something about the company that's dispatching these drivers, okay? As for the whole withholding of the $15,000, hell no, I would not let anybody withhold $15,000. If your paycheck does not come in on time on the 1st and 15th or every single week in the US, but here in Canada it's every 1st and 15th, if your check doesn't come on time or something's wrong with your fuel cards, that is a red flag. Drivers out there, I'm asking you for your help, for your opinions on this. What can you do in this situation? I'd love to forward these comments to the driver that had asked me this question. Where can you tell on the company, and what can you do about Canadian trucking companies that are doing interstate loads? Now, for those of you drivers, for those of you trucking companies that are doing interstate, I promise you that day is going to be over very, very soon because there's a floodgate of people that are complaining about Canadian companies doing interstate loads, and the same thing is happening with Mexican companies doing interstate loads in the US. Those days are going to be over real soon, and this is what this channel is for. We are here to unite North American drivers and to root out the crap that's in our industry. Hopefully you learned something from this video, and I'll be waiting for those comments.